Hello, this is Deborah Cohen, a story and a song. And this whole discussion series about singing for therapy, music therapy, began when I happened to, if you believe in coincidences, happened to look at Ringo Starr on the cover of an AARP magazine. Usually those books for me, I don't read them, because I figure they're for fuddy-duddies. No offense if I'm a baby boomer. I could be in that category, but I don't look at myself that way. But this caught my eye because Ringo Starr is on the cover, and it took me into this exploration of John Colapinto's series on how music can bring healing. And I recommend this magazine for this particular issue, December 2023 / January 2024. If you're interested, or if you don't want to buy the magazine, you can look at my archived videos because I covered a chapter every week right here on a story and a song. So you can find my podcast on Spotify. Just look for Spotify podcasts or wherever podcasts are streaming, a story and a song. So today we're going to talk about the spiritual value of choral singing, like choir, choral, chorus. And, if you're a different denomination other than Jewish, you can still apply this information to your congregation. So this is not exclusive, but I am speaking as myself, a Jew. So if that interests you and you want to know more about the spiritual dimension of choral singing, then I will be right back after this brief message. Hello, this is Deborah Cohen. I'm so glad you found me online. My music is a variety of genres, starting in the 80s as a new wave singer-songwriter, opening up for Joan Jett in Kenmore Square, Boston. From there, I wandered into different genres, exploring my faith, praise music, interfaith music, and pop, rock, indie music, as well as music for TV, film, and movies. So there's all kinds of things to learn listening to my podcast, A Story and a Song. And I hope that you will enjoy the journey with me and that you will share what you hear. Thank you for listening. And this is Deborah Cohen, and I hope that you are here in the live chat Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv / Deborah Cohen Music, or now streaming, I finally figured it out, on Instagram at Deborah Cohen Music, DOTCOM. So please keep your comments on topic as we begin. And let's see, let me say hello to Marty if he's in the house on Twitch. Good morning, because he's a regular, okay? And if you're a regular, I'll say good morning to you too. Okay, there we go. All right. The spiritual value of Jewish choral singing. And as I mentioned before the break, this can also apply to your belief system. I'm just using this because in this context of Jewish choral singing, this is what I personally experience. And I speak from experience, not just head knowledge. There's nothing like, there's almost nothing like singing with a group of people in praise. And all of a sudden, it's almost like as you continue from praise into worship, you can hear people's voices in the whole room in one accord, one assembly. And it's powerful. It's powerful if you can get over your self-consciousness of singing, but at the same time, you don't want to be a blasting horn so that you drown everybody else. You need to, for those of us that are strong singers, like my husband and I, we need to be sensitive to others in the room so we can adjust our volume to hear the other voices. And if they don't wake up vocally, then we just go for it. Right, Marty? He says, Boker Tov Bashir Shali. Thank you, dearie. And at the end, I think I'll mention something about it being Rosh Kodesh. So if that interests you, hold on to your seatbelts. All right. In the age-old quest for deeper spiritual feeling and understanding, Jews and followers of other faiths have tried a variety of actions. Maybe that's you. Some are cerebral, reading and writing prayers, studying, researching are chief among them. Others are physical, performing arts such as music and dance, meditation, delving into fine arts and crafts, even less obvious fields such as gardening, hiking, and such. Okay, Marty says he's getting ear training starting this week because he wants to really get into the spiritual elevation of singing together in key, which too many people don't know that you can actually learn to sing in key. It's called ear training. So there's no excuse for singing off key. No excuse. I'm tone deaf now. Sorry, go to school, please. Stop feeding yourself these excuses. Okay, so Jews of all types have their reasons and motivations for seeking greater spiritual sustenance within the parameters of Judaism and elsewhere. Young and old, female and male, Reform, Reconstructionist, Conservative, and the several subgroups within Orthodoxy, Jews from all walks have made their attempt to grow spiritually. For some, it is a lengthy, patient, ongoing march. For others, it is an impulsive, short-term, dilettante exercise. One factor is whether or not to make one's spiritual development a sole excursion or include group endeavors. A majority of Jews employ a mix of activities in their spiritual pursuit. Balancing singular versus group is not always easy, and I can vouch for that, and can vary with a person's needs and stages of growth. So I have tried to encourage others because they will hear Marty and I, my husband, singing our hearts out to God. And people will comment after the service is over, wow, we just love your voice and it's great to listen to you. And that's great, but I didn't hear you. Are you singing? Did you sing? Oh, no, I can't sing. I've been told, I know I can't sing. You don't want to hear me sing. You know, all the reasons why they don't participate in something that pleases God. Somebody told them, like somebody told me a long time ago when I was singing to Olivia Newton-John records in my teenage bedroom, had a great singing session, felt good about myself afterwards as a teenager, and I come downstairs to join the folks for dinner, and my mother says to me, "Was that you singing upstairs?" And I was waiting for the ultimate compliment. And I said, "Yes, Mom." And she said, "You sound like a sick cow." Well, you know what? That one statement destroyed me as a teenager. I stopped singing just because of that one comment. So please don't be cruel to people. If they can't sing or you don't like their singing, encourage them to improve. There's always ways to improve. It took me years of counseling to get over that imprint. And happy travel. SPNJAB is in the house at Instagram. Welcome. We're talking about spiritual singing, and I hope this interests you. When it comes to tapping into Judaism, and as I mentioned, this can apply to all faiths, spiritually and music, there are times when a person may just want to listen to songs, compose tunes on a musical instrument, and the like. But to a great extent, music, and especially singing, is a group activity and can be a major spiritual stimulant. And in the secular realm, because I used to be in a rock band in the 80s in Boston, there were a few times when the band was doing a rehearsal and I could hear all the instruments as if they were playing with a metronome. That's another thing that a lot of people don't seem to have an inner rhythm, or it doesn't jive with the piece being sung. And it's an elevation. Even though we were playing rock music, secular music, I was aware of that realm of everybody was one, echad, and it was magical. Mr. Ashish is in the house at Instagram. Welcome. We're talking about singing for spiritual benefit. This prompts a few important questions. Can choral singing elevate the spirituality of those who listen and respond during a religious service or during a concert? And does choral singing elevate the spirituality of participating singers? Or is the singing perceived primarily as a time to listen passively for those listening, or a nerve-wracking performance for those singing? And the author says, I've thought about this at length because I sing with a small group that accompanies our shul's cantor. For those of you that don't know cantor, it's a song leader, primarily during the year high holy services, but also on other occasions. Our group began in 2008 with 8 singers, 2 per voice in SATB form. We grew slightly, and at our largest, we were a dozen singers singing together. But 1 alto died, 1 baritone moved upstate New York, our 3rd tenor separated from and divorced his wife and moved away. So currently we are a 9-person octet with 3 sopranos, 2 each of the other voices, and the author is one of the tenors. And occasionally I lead prayers or chant Bible portions. At times I grow nervous about being on stage, the bima in Hebrew, and chanting Hebrew. So do I. I don't get nervous chanting it unless I'm up at the bima alone. Although I feel a sense of satisfaction at doing these parts of the service, I have not felt the same deep emotional pull that can occur when I sing with others. And this is what we're getting to. Group singing has spiritual dimension that is uplifting to the soul. Everyone has a soul. Uplifting. At times when singing with the group along with our praise leader, I feel elevated. Have you ever felt elevated singing with your group? Let me know in the chat. I feel emotional. Oh, indeed. Sometimes I cry because it's so beautiful to hear other people singing together in one spirit. The human spirit. Our voices blend and lock in on certain musical or word phrases, and for lack of a better word, it feels spiritual. It feels uplifting. Chabad writer Zvi Freeman, in his article, Music, Spirituality, and Transformation, The Centrality of Song in Chabad, which I'll talk about next week, he writes that, quote, song carries the soul upward to be absorbed within the infinite light, end quote, aka God. Have you ever felt that uplifting? You can do that with others using your voice. But you have to find your voice, and you have to have confidence to sing. And as I mentioned in the beginning, there are lessons out there for everyone. Ear training, song reading. Maybe you're like me and you learn to sing by ear because you have dyslexia, and reading 2 staffs or playing 2 staffs at the same time, it really is very hard, so I learned by ear. Anyway, Marty is saying, sometimes the spirit is so strong in the place of worship that I must shut my mouth to better receive this divine flow. And yes, I know exactly what you're saying. It's an awe moment. The effect is even greater when we participate in singing together. Joined in song, our emotions are not merely stirred, they merge, they dissolve with the emotions of others, deepen our human connection. And we need that so much today. You see, this broken world we live in, so full of hate. Music is a medium to reconnect soul to soul, regardless of what others believe or what you believe about whoever or whatever. You can still find a song to sing together and break down the barriers. Singing in community provides a tangible power that does not exist when we sing alone. And that I have experienced the difference leading people. I have to think less about my own experience and reach outside of myself and help others to get to that place of divine flow. So I am not into the receiving blessing as much as I am instructing others to join in one. There's a different experience. When you're singing in a group, then you experience other people's voices equally, not as the leader. And everybody, if they learn how to sing together, reach that uplifting experience, but it needs to be taught. And this is why I'm sharing this today. Although some may debate that it can be a highly personal attitude, some can debate that group singing in a religious setting as well as other settings like schools, etc., can be exceptionally moving or at least a social experience. So if you're not in a situation where you're looking for divine flow, it can still be an intimate experience in a social setting. Sing-alongs, modern flash mob singing, activist events with a political or social agenda, many of these utilize singing, planned or spontaneous outbreaks to carry a message, to entertain, to bring people together via their identity or causes. So I could get into more of this information, but I think I'm going to leave it here. If you want to know more about the biblical context of singing in group, then you can go to this website, thewisdomdaily.com. Thewisdomdaily, all one word, .com, and search on that website for the article titled The Spiritual Value of Jewish Choral Singing by Ellen Levitt, L-E-V as in Victor, I-T-T as in Tom, dated April 10th, 2017. So I thank you for listening. I'm going to come right back after this station break, and we'll talk about Rosh Chodesh. Thank you for being here today.
Trying to get me a closer look. Saw her bathing on her patio. Like a voyeur, she didn't see my lusting after her. Oh, what beauty.
And that's my song that I wrote, Closer Look. I think that's what it's called. I try to release a song a month. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with myself. But there's a little lull in my songwriting, which is why I'm doing these hopefully encouraging teaching moments about getting y'all to sing together or find my music, DeborahCohenMusic.com. So let's talk about Rosh Chodesh. Today is the 2nd of Adar for those of you that honor the Jewish calendar. And there was a time when certain peoples in our ancestry honored the moon, not as a worship, but acknowledged it in a festival. So I'm just going to help you a little bit if you don't know anything about this. It's called Rosh Chodesh in Hebrew, the head of the month, or the new moon, is a holiday celebrating the arrival of a new moon. The new moon was a big deal in ancient times, marked by a festival, sacrifices, and blowing of the shofar, if you're Jewish, as commanded by God. According to the book of Numbers, chapter 10, verse 10, you can find this in your Bible, whether it's your Christian Bible or your Jewish Bible or whatever Bible you happen to have. You'll find it in the book of Numbers, Bamidbar 10:10. Says God speaking here, pay attention. And on your joyous occasions, your fixed festivals, and new moon days, you shall sound the trumpets over your burnt offerings and your sacrifices of well-being. Oh, I never heard that until recently. And I'm like, really? So there are women that are trying to, in the congregation, honor the new moon in these monthly meetings. Due to a Talmudic midrash on the golden calf, the holiday became particularly special for women. Let's read on. And in the scripture, it says, and Aaron said to them, break off the gold earrings in Exodus 32:2. The women heard this, but they were unwilling to give their earrings to their husbands. But they said to them, ye desire to make a graven image and a molten image without any power in it to deliver. The Holy One, blessed be He, gave the women their reward in this world and in the world to come. Kudos to us women. Yes. Gonna get an amen if there's a woman in the house listening. What reward did He give them in this world? Here it is, women. No, quiet, men, be quiet. You have other things. This is for the women. That they should observe the new moons more stringently than the men. And that is from Pirkei de Rabbi Eleazar 45:4. In doing so, Rosh Chodesh was often celebrated by women as a day off from work. I thought the saying was, a woman's work is never done. Okay. All right. In the 16th century, women of Eastern Europe also wrote special personal prayers for the occasion. In 1970s, Jewish feminists claimed Rosh Chodesh for spiritual growth through worship and study. Today, it is not difficult to find women who gather each month to celebrate with liturgies of healing, liturgies written by women, and speaking to women's experiences and the study of Torah. Look no further, for you can go to Mr. Google and find your local chapter of meetings for Rosh Chodesh. And I'll spell it in case you don't know. Oh, there it is right there in the screen. But if you're only listening to the audio podcast, it's Rosh, R-O-S-H, Chodesh, C-H-O-D-E-S-H. And so, with this honor, I have written, because in Judaism, the psalm that is acknowledged and sung during this festival is Psalm 104. And I'm going to share a lyric video of Psalm 104 now that I wrote the music to. It's still the original words in a poetic form. So let us listen, if you have the opportunity in a quiet, undisturbed place. Listen and see what this psalm speaks to your heart of hearts. And ask in prayer during the listening of this song how you can honor God for Rosh Chodesh. And have no fear, it's a leap year. So if you didn't get it right the first Adar, there will be a second Adar coming in March, I think starting March 9th. So, yes, we're practicing our faith. No matter what faith you have, we can still honor God with the celebration of the new moons.
The trees
once a refuge for the gopher. He created the moon for Moadim. The sun knows it's going down. Adonai, how manifold are your works. In wisdom you have made them all. I will sing to Adonai as long as I live. Bless Adonai, oh my soul. You make darkness and it is night. All beasts of the forest creep about, and we all go to work and to labor until it is evening. The glory of God is forever. Adonai rejoices in his great works. He looks on the earth and it trembles. He touches the hills and they smoke. Adonai, how manifold are your works. In wisdom you have made them all. I will sing to Adonai as long as I live. Bless Adonai, oh my soul. Bless Adonai, oh my
And I hope that you enjoyed Psalm 104. Please look for my music wherever music is streaming and sold. Deborah Cohen Music. I pray that you had a spiritual uplifting in the experience of the music to offer to God, whoever you believe He is. Kodesh Tov, y'all, says Marty. Thank you for being here. Bring a friend next week. Drasub27 just joined. Sorry, we're closing, but you can find these videos in the archives on my YouTube channel at Jewish Rock Music. The handle at Jewish Rock Music. So, until we meet again, Sundays 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, either on twitch.tv or on Instagram. My handle is DeborahCohenMusic.com, all spelled out. And we'll see you next week. Shalom to your home.